I think it's deeply worrying that someone of the status of O'Leary says this type of clearly racist statement, but at the same time, he said a lot of these types of things before. He talked a few years ago about how Britain has to lean back over backwards for Muslims. He has this type of tendency to say certain things that are problematic, and that's the problem. I mean, we don't be in a situation in the 21st century where just because you have a different faith, you get treated differently. That would be outrageous. We should obviously base things on specific intelligence, and I think that's what a lot of people are recognizing and talking about.
While it may be discriminatory, what is racist saying that most of the bombers will be single males travelling on their own?
So if the idea is I'm talking about the reported ideas that specifically if you are a Muslim, you will be treated differently to if you're not a Muslim. That's the specific area which I'm saying is clearly racist and discriminatory, and we shouldn't.
No. I agree it's discriminatory, but yes. Most of the bombers are single males travelling on their own, aren't they?
Yes, no.
So while it might be discriminatory, it's not racist, is it?
Sorry. Okay. There are different understandings of what racism is. The definition of Islamophobia is that it's a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslim identity or perceived Muslim identity, and that's what we're talking about
here. Let's back up a little. Do you agree, regrettably, that many people pervert the true cause of Islam and they believe it in some warped version of it, and they, and they are single males who travel mostly on their own to try and commit terror attacks? Do you agree with that?
I think that when it comes to hijackings, I don't think we have a wealth of evidence to talk about the people who are targeting aeroplanes. We're not sure. We're talking about terrorist attacks more generally. It depends on what type of terror attacks. I think that when it comes to the number of terror attacks in Europe, for example, in America, or violence in America, there's obviously a significantly greater amount of mass shootings in America.
Respectfully, we're not talking about shootings in the United States. Yeah. We're talking about the terror attacks such as we saw with the London bombings. We've seen in events in Nice and other European cities, and even if you will, are they not mostly single males travelling on their own, the perpetrators?
So it depends what you're talking about. When it comes to Europol, the data says that the great
all right, Mr. Versi, they're not. You're right, and the weight of evidence is clearly wrong, and you stick to your views, and the rest of the people will think, well, actually, it's very discriminatory and it's inflammatory, what Mr. O'Leary said, but it's not racist because it's a depiction of what people have done to pervert the faith. But you continue talking about shooters in America and don't address the problem if you think that's the way forward.
No.
You're not prepared to accept it. I've tried 3 times to get you to agree. You don't see it. You talk to me about mass shootings in the United States. I'm not talking about mass shootings in the United States, Mr. Versi. I'm talking about what we are confronted with in this city and other European cities, which people who misrepresent your faith, who use it as some kind of death cult wrongly, absolutely not in line with what the faith is about. But all the time you keep lighting into American shootings, we'll never get any place. Keep it your way. Keep it your way, mate. I've tried.
I wasn't mention that. No, sir. I wasn't talking about. I only mentioned mass shootings once. That's not relevant here. If you're talking about specifically Europe. In Europe, there are a range of different things that are happening, and yes, there are some people who pervert the course of my faith and they try and do it. But what I'm trying to understand here is that something that it should be a driver for racist action, and should someone who happens to have a Muslim faith be treated differently? That's the specific thing we're talking about here.
And at last we found common ground, because absolutely it should not. But the realisation of the issues that we face in screening is not a bad thing, although he's aired it in a discriminatory fashion. I'm grateful for your input, Miqdaad Versi. Thank you.